Alright guys, today we have more PlayStation news and information to go over and discuss, starting with a major sales milestone that the PS5 just recently crossed, showing not only the overall health of the PS5 console and how well it's doing, but the health of the console space in general. We're talking once again about Jade Raymond's Haven Studio. They're currently working on a new PlayStation 5 IP, and we have some new information on that title. And we're talking about the Netflix gaming situation because we have an update on that front as well. And finally, we're talking briefly about the next-gen only Dead Space Remake that was just announced, which is incredibly exciting. So before we dive into these topics, do me a favor, hit the like button to help this video out and show your support, and hit the subscribe button as well if you are new to the channel. Getting into the first topic, we're talking about the PlayStation 5 hitting 10 million units sold faster than any other PlayStation console. So this is reading from PlayStation Universe, and it says Sony's biggest problem right now with the PS5 is that they can't seem to make enough of them because the demand is extremely high, something made all the more clear with a new report which estimates that the PS5 has already eclipsed 10.1 million units sold in just 35 weeks, where it took the PS4 39 weeks to do the same. The report comes from website MBG Charts, who estimates that at the end of the week of July 10th, PS5 has sold another 253,907 units, which officially brought the console across that 10 million line. Now, it's worth noting that they are using the word estimates here because VG Charts is not an official source, but their estimations are relatively accurate based off of what we know, but we can't be sure that they are 100% accurate. I do think, however, it's safe to say, and certainly safe to assume, that based off of all of the information we do have officially from Sony about how well the PS5 has been selling thus far, it certainly hit that 10 million mark, or is just about to hit it within the next week or so. And regardless of whether or not it's already at 10 million or it's going to hit 10 million in a week or two, it's hitting that 10 million mark before the PS4. And we know how successful the PS4 was. We know how insanely great it was selling when it first launched. And for the PS4 to hit 10 million units sold in 39 weeks, that was already incredible as it was. To see the PS5 under a severe supply constraint managed to do the same thing, but in a shorter period of time, is honestly nothing short of incredible. I know that sounds maybe a little bit hyperbolic to some people, but that is kind of crazy. I can't stress how insanely in demand the PS5 actually is. And it's unfortunate, as I always say, that there's still so many people who would gladly buy a PS5, but they just can't right now. And that truly is the problem that Sony has right now. It's the fact that they simply can't produce enough consoles. It really does make you wonder how many millions of units would the PS5 sell if they were not under a supply constraint, right? Something tells me it would be well past 10 million, certainly well past 10 million. And so I know that not everybody really cares about console sales, and I understand that, but I think this is certainly something that's worth highlighting because the PS5 is not only continuing to break records, and it's going to, in my opinion, clearly be the most successful PlayStation console ever. I mean, we'll have to see about that. It's going to have to contend with the PS2, and that might prove to be difficult, but I certainly see the PS5 being more successful in the end than the PS4. It also goes to show just the overall health of the console market. You know, every single generation we hear the same thing, and that is, well, this might be the last console generation. There's a good chance that no one's going to want to buy consoles after this. And the PS5 is out here just shutting that down completely, right? Not only is it doing incredibly well, but it's breaking records at a time when people are struggling to even find this thing. So I definitely wanted to take a moment here to talk about it. For anybody wondering why Sony hasn't been officially celebrating this or kind of bragging about their sales numbers, I think it's kind of obvious why they're not doing that. It's because they know that they're failing to produce anywhere near enough to get even close to meeting the demand. And there's millions of people who want this console that can't buy it and can't seem to get their hands on it. So it's just not really a good look to be bragging about how many units you've sold when you still have millions of people who are going to scream at you and be like, why can't I get one, right? Which is completely understandable. So again, hopefully they're able to meet that demand sooner rather than later, but certainly a major milestone for the PS5. But we're moving on to the second topic here, which is talking about Jade Raymond's Haven Studio and how apparently the PS5 exclusive game that they're working on is an online game as a service. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people who feel very deflated after hearing that, and looking into the general response to this news, it seems to be mostly negative, which is understandable. PlayStation players, we don't really care too much about games as a service, but I've tried to explain to you guys here on the channel or anybody who's listening in that Sony is definitely going to be trying to have more games as a service that are exclusive to their console or ecosystem this generation than any generation prior. That doesn't mean they're not going to continue to do their single player titles, but this is just something that Sony wants in on, right? They want in on that game as a service pie because of how lucrative it can be. So this is reading from PlayStation Universe, and it says, the news that Jade Raymond had returned to the industry with her own studio under Sony and that they were working on a new original IP turned quite a few heads, and a new report appears to have confirmed what was already rumored. Haven Studios' new IP could be a multiplayer game-as-a-service title exclusive to PS5. The report comes from Italian publication multiplayer.it, where according to an anonymous source, a recruiting message has revealed that Haven is looking for developers to, quote, help develop an original intellectual property, a Sony-exclusive game-as-a-service, unquote. Now, I know that this may not be what a lot of people were hoping for when it comes to this, but at the same time, it doesn't come off as a big surprise to me. A recurring theme that we are seeing with these studios that Sony is partnering with outside of their first party, so they're developing these second party relationships with Jade Raymond's new studio, Haven Studio, and then we have Deviation Games, which is being formed by Call of Duty veterans, and then we have Firewalk Games, which was formed by Halo and Destiny veterans. You can see that there's a pattern here where they're all working on multiplayer games, and they're all making it clear that they are developing these multiplayer titles with a AAA budget, and Sony was sure to lock in all three of these titles as new IP exclusive to PlayStation. Now, we know that Sony is going to continue to develop their single player titles. There are a lot of people who fear that because Sony is pursuing this, it's going to come at the expense of their single player. And I feel like I have to say this all the time. That's not going to happen for one simple reason. Multiplayer is not Sony's bread and butter. The thing that has made Sony the most money and made them as successful as they are right now when it comes to the PlayStation division is their single player AAA exclusives. So you can rest assured that that's going to continue. However, the argument that, well, hey, I would much rather see Sony take all of the money and resources that they're putting into this and these development teams and these games as a service that are currently being developed and put them into new single player IP and stuff like that. I think that's a fair point, and I would also like to see that, but I think we do have to understand that not every single new IP or every single AAA project that is being worked on underneath the PlayStation Studios banner is going to be a game as a service. It just so happens that a lot of these teams, or at least some of them anyway, they are working on multiplayer titles. And I try telling people who say, or I see the comments all the time of them being like, man, I really hope Sony makes a good multiplayer game, or I really wish Sony would make more multiplayer games, because I do see a fair amount of those comments as well. I always tell them, you don't have to worry. Sony is going all in when it comes to multiplayer games this generation. But again, that's going to be alongside them already being all in on single player narrative driven experiences as well. Essentially what they're trying to do is create the best of both worlds. So we'll see if that pans out in the end. But you can let me know down in the comments below if this dampens your excitement for Haven Studios' new PlayStation 5 IP. I can imagine it will be a situation where a lot of people will not be excited for it and they don't care about it now that they're hearing this. But maybe it'll be one of those situations where when you see it revealed, maybe it catches your eye and you're like, oh, I'm not a big fan of, multiplayer games or games as a service, but maybe it'll be something that you like. Who knows? Moving to the next topic, though, we're talking about Netflix and how they are confirming their gaming expansion will be included with subscriptions at no additional cost, and it seems that the focus for them is going to be mainly on mobile gaming. Now, I felt that this was important to talk about and update you guys on because we were speculating that maybe PlayStation was going to have some type of an involvement with this, and they still could technically, but it seems a lot less likely now that we have this information. So this is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle. It says, following recent reports, streaming giant Netflix has officially confirmed its plans to expand into gaming. In a letter to shareholders dated July 20th, Netflix said that the expansion is still in its early stages. Games will be included in member subscriptions at no additional cost, and the initiative will kick off with mobile games. So that's pretty much all you really need to know right now about this, but for those who maybe are not aware, data miners did find images of the DualSense controller and Ghost of Tsushima on Netflix's iOS app files, and so that is what led to all of that speculation that maybe there's going to be some kind of partnership here. And again, there could be. We know that Sony is investing more in the development of mobile games with some of their bigger IP, and maybe we could see that partnership happen specifically with Netflix, specifically for mobile games. Definitely a possibility, but again, I wanted to update you guys with this, so we're just going to kind of have to wait and see what happens here. But I want to close out this video by just talking briefly about the next-gen exclusive Dead Space Remake. This was just announced. This was actually something that was rumored for a little while, and now we have it officially confirmed. And so, reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, once again, it says the rumored Dead Space Remake is confirmed. Being developed from the ground up by EA Motive, the next-gen exclusive remake is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC, and will be a full remake of the original game. And so as of right now, they've only shared with us a brief teaser trailer, which doesn't reveal too much, but does a very good job in getting you excited. And I have to say that this was one of the better announcements that we've gotten recently. Certainly an exciting one. A lot of people really loved Dead Space, and it's just a great game. And so it's going to be very exciting to see this revealed in a more significant way, to see the first gameplay. Knowing it's going to be next gen only, in my opinion, is a very big deal. But I think it also lets us know that it's still in early development, and it will probably be some time before we see it. And so yeah, I had to be sure to take a moment to let you guys know about this. I'm sure most of you are already well aware of it, but you know, I still just had to take a second to express my excitement for it. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Again, if you did, please leave it a like, leave your thoughts down in the comments below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.